Jay here. Today I'm going to do a review of the SeeMeCNC Delta Orion 3D printer. Let's see. Let me give you some of the facts first. It's a Delta type 3D printer, which means instead of like the Cartesian on the replicator, which is like a square that it moves around in this kind of direction, it uses 3 articulating arms with a Delta quadrant system to print. The arms move up and down, it goes around and around and around. It has a 6-inch circular, 9-inch tall build dimension, or a 5 by 5 by 5 by 9 if you're doing a talk square build dimension. Because it's a Delta, one of the things that they say you can do is high-speed printing. I'll get to that in my review. This machine is set up for ABS and PLA. As you can see, it's got a glass top. It's got a heated bed, so it can do ABS and PLA. It has LCD with the switch on it, and on the side is a SD card slot, so it has standalone printing. It also has USB hookup, and it has a 0.5 millimeter nozzle. Alright, so, and the price. Now these, I think brand new, are $1,495 US, so say $1,500 bucks. Which right now is a lot for bots, because bots have come way down. You know, the craft bots that are coming out of Hungary, I think I got mine, well, I was a Kickstarter, so it was like $4.99, but I think they're only selling for $6.99, and those are really nice Ultimaker clones. They come in many colors, and anyway, there's other bots out there that I think can compete as far as the cost. And again, this is only, if you look at it square, 5 by 5 by 9. That's not a real big printer build area nowadays. I mean, you know, Solid Doodles and everybody's has, even PrintBot has 8 by 8 by 8s. So it's not a big build area. It's fairly expensive. Compared to what you get, but let me state that this thing, and this is a built open source you know, design by SeeMeCNC. Now, and this thing is built well. This thing is built well. It's you know, I think this is MDF. This is the black. It also comes in white. It's just, this is the wood, comes in a shade of white, or the laminate comes in white instead of this black. And there's nice little engravings up here on top, and it's painted here. It says Orion. So the build quality is good. The design is good. So I can't fault them for what they built. I mean, if you've seen some other Deltas out there, the kits and stuff, this is nice. I'll tell you what. Let me just go ahead and get right on into my review. So I got it here, and I started printing some things, and I compare everything to my replicator too. I know some people don't like replicators because they're Hollywood, and they didn't go open. Anyway, I've got a replicator too that I can throw dirt in and it'll print. I mean, I've had to work with it and do a lot of things, but it just prints. You've seen it in my other videos. So that's the sort of the standard I go by. Literally, I use that because you can just throw a program up on it and hit print, and usually you'll get a usable print. It's almost idiot proof, and I already know about being idiot proof. But so the software, let's start with that. I give you the price, the specs. The software they recommend for this is Matter Control. Now you can also use Simplify 3D, which I have also, and I've used also with this. They say use Matter Control. So a lot of people say don't stream over USB. I'm one of those. I did try it. Lots of failures. So the USB thing wasn't working. Unlike some of the print bots I've tested, I couldn't, with this thing hooked up USB and the SD card in the head up here in the controller, I couldn't send the program from the computer to the SD card. Now on the print bots that use basically the same thing, but you're going through like Octoprint. This is a program, whereas the Octoprint and the Pi and everything's like a standalone computer on the print bots. But anyway, I was able to send programs to the SD. I couldn't do that with this one, so that left me with one choice: take the SD out, use an SD card adapter, this computer actually has an SD card slot, and burn the G code onto the SD, take it out, put it back in there, and that works. The matter control is a piece of junk. This thing is very inconsistent about crashing. It's very inconsistent with STL acceptance. It's I sort of like the controls and the slice configuration and stuff, but once you set it, you have to go through and build the low, medium, and high quality settings and set them up, because if you just want to use one, again, for example, like on the replicator, it has low, medium, high, and you can just snag one and modify it on the fly. Once you lock this in, it gets pissy and makes you go over to the setup screen to change the value. So I don't like that. I do like it's got a lot of selections, almost like Simplify 3D with all the different selections. So the matter control did work, but I give it like 6 out of 10. You know, it worked, but I didn't like it. It was set up for the Delta Orion. Simplify 3D, which you have to pay for, okay, it's like $139, I think. Now that worked a lot better with the Delta Orion, but again, it was set up for it. But I managed to use Craft Unique, which is the CraftSpot front end that they're giving away for free right now. I did manage to use it, and that's what I used to slice this model, because the original model that you print's about this big. As you can tell, I've almost tripled the size of this and sliced it up, which oh my god, I just drew a blank. No, that's not right. I was going to say I used a separate slicer, broken into parts and consumed them, but I didn't. I actually used that Craft Unique front end and just, I think I increased the size 2 times or 2.1 and printed this out. And that Craft Unique is a great front end, and it's free. Now it is set up mostly for their craft printers, craft bots, but you can use it on anything because it's programmable and you can change everything. But anyway, so as you can see, this is printed at 30. There is this section, this section, this section, this section, and then the bottom section. Yeah, I would say that it printed okay. Again, I'm comparing a lot of this to the replicator. I'll give you an example. This is round, and it should have been a great model for the Delta. Okay, here is, as you can see, this is the big bin. I did it on the replicator, comes apart, and yes, this is painted because I'm not done yet. But and this, you know, should print well because it's a square and it's a Cartesian design for the replicator. So if I compare the print quality and failure rate and all the other goofy stuff, the replicator again beats the Delta Orion hands down. As you can see, I've got the blue tape on here, but I did try ABS with the glue stick, and that worked okay. The blue tape and the PLA works better, but it's because you're printing cement. That's the reason people like PLA is you're printing cement, and once it's down, if you get it down, it's done. You know, it's there. And as you can, I want to point out right here, if you can see it, there is a PLA fan that has a little ducting that blows towards the build tray. So there is a PLA fan in there, and you can control it. Turn it off for ABS, turn it on for PLA. Now for ABS, one of the reasons it didn't really work well, look, it's open. So you're only getting the heating element here. Now with me, I usually find, depending on the size of the build tray and how much heat you crank it up, if it's open, usually I can get about an 1.5 inch height, that you're still getting the build, the warming envelope, so it controls it. And again, it's on design, geometry, and rafting if you're going to use that, or helper discs or anything. So you're not going to get a 9-inch ABS print out of this thing unless you really, really, really work. Again, if you apply the same, say my Replicator 2X, which is an ABS machine, only ABS, it doesn't do PLA, but only ABS, and you compare the ABS section of this, this is 4 times harder. 4 times harder. If you compare this PLA wise to my Replicator 2, this is 3 times harder. And I'm going to get into why. So the first reason it's hard is this matter control crap. You know, if you can get it to work, great. I'm Windows 7, and this is made for Windows 7. It shouldn't care. Windows 7, newest version, with the configuration files for the Delta, and it's still hit or miss. So now we're going to talk about the bot. The ABS, again, because it's an open build design, you're only going to get a couple of inches of build height out of it unless you really try. Printing on the glass is good. The glue works, but I've never been a big glue fan because it's just nasty. I mean, you can scale it off in between prints. I'm just not a real big fan of the glue, and I use this on my 3D Systems cube that I used. I'm just not a real big fan of the glue. But you can't do the hairspray, which is still messy, but nowhere near as bad as the glue as far as scaling. You know, the hairspray is going to go wash it off. Now, one of the things that I'm going to try on all my new ABS, on all my ABS printers, a new idea. I got a CreateBot, not CraftBot, but CreateBot DHO2 at work the other day, and it came with double stick Ultim, and wow, that really, oh my god, I'm gonna have to look at that. Now somebody said there's some PET film that's double stick like that too, but the good thing is, because it's the Ultim and it's a little crinkly, you can just shave that off the razor blade and it comes off in a sheet again. You put it in the sheet down. I'm gonna have to look at that. Something new that I haven't really played with before. But let's just talk about the standard things. You could put Kapton on here, and that will work. I'm a real big fan of Kapton compared to the glue. I've always said, if it takes you twice as long to set up on Kapton, you're still better off. So you can use the Kapton. Let's see. The PLA. Once you get this height set, it will print PLA. But I still give it a, you know, it's 3 out of 10 chance it's going to fail. Why would it do that? Well, there is a setup on this called the Parabolic leveling. Okay, you know, you have to do your X, Y leveling off your Z, and that's so your print head, like on a Replicator, you have a square print bed, and you have, you know, your screws you adjust, and that's so as the print head moves around, it's equal distance off the print head, and then yeah, the extruder head, and then the build plate, and that's so you get your correct squish on your foundation. And there's software and hardware hacks, if you're not close, that you can fix that. But on a Delta, which has a 3-position traveling head, you have this thing called parabolic leveling, and that's where you have to make sure that these arms are parallel to each other, because if you don't and the head moves, it'll swing, the head will swing up like a pendulum. So you have to make sure that these things are perfectly balanced, that when they move, it stays parallel. Yeah, that's a sort of a pain. And here's the other thing. Unlike Replicators and the print bots and several other printers that I've played with and done reviews on, this, you just about have to set your build height level every time. If you do a couple of small ones, you know, it's like this, I printed this on there. If you do a couple, 2 or 3 of those, you don't have to set it. But if you print something, say like this, every time you print that, you have to go back and set your XY. I don't know if it's, I've got a lemon machine. I don't know if it's true of all Deltas, because I've got friends say, oh hell no, you know, I set it one time and a month later I'll check it. I don't know. Now that's also compounded by that parabolic leveling. And you do that by using these screws up here on top. Let me tell you, I don't have a warm and fuzzy on that. I have, and also there's no, on the bigger Rostock Delta, the big Rostock, they actually have a program called leveling, and you run it and it goes to 3 cardinal points and stops, and you can set your head, you know, the old-fashioned way with a, you know, a piece of paper or a business card, or, you know, feeler gauges. This one doesn't. This one has a program that goes and you're supposed to eyeball a 1mm clearance. You know, I'm getting on that 50 bandwagon. I'm lucky if I can see the machine from here. So I basically would just had to use this front end to move the X and Y's around and set that. But I'm telling you, I haven't came up with a good way to set that parabolic leveling, and it does get off. So I'm not real happy with the leveling. I'm not. That's really the biggest problem I would say with the Delta Bot is I'm not happy with the leveling. I can live with, you know, some of the setup problems. I can live with wonky software. I can live with a small build dimension on such a large machine, and I can deal with a little bit premium in cost because this is well built. But I'm telling you, that parabolic leveling is just... So here's some of the things I printed. This is ABS. Let me see if I can get some close-ups on this. This is the ABS. And this is all printed at 0.30. And then I got some blue PLA. Oh, fail. This is blue PLA. Again, 0.3 resolution. And I don't like the way this thing finishes on the bottom. It tends to really pull it up on the bottom, no matter where. No, I've really tried some good settings on the first couple layers, but it tends to sort of be crappy. I don't know if you can see that. So, and then again, these are napkin rings, but it was a test thing because I was trying to use the spin where it just does the outline. I was doing that not on this one though. This is a fill one. I think it's 10% fill. So, and this is at 0.3. You can see inside. It's gone. And then I also have some natural PLA that I did the stringy. You know, the usual that I've been doing since into 2011 or so with I started with my cube with a stretchlet. So, you know, just to show you. Alright, now another major failure I would say that this thing has, it's got a 0.5mm nozzle. Now, the industry standard is about 0.4mm. That's what's on all the Ulti-clones, the Ulti-makers, the replicators, blah, 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 is all 0.4. So I really think that all the software has just been set up biased on a 0.4. I know you can just change value, but I've never really, I really get the sense that that's the sweet spot, that everything is set based on 0.4mm. And this is a 0.5, which is a great fill-in nozzle. If you've got a dual head system, you can print your walls, your interior or exterior walls at say 0.2 with a 0.4 nozzle, and then you can do your infill at say 0.4 with a 0.5 nozzle, and you lose a lot. You know what I'm saying? The resolution and everything. Or you can really just do quick infills. So that does work good. But as your main nozzle, as a 0.5, and that's your only choice, it really struggles to do a fine layer. I don't know, it won't. 0.5 should be fine. I'm telling you, 0.5 struggles to do what a 0.4 will, which doesn't seem like a lot. And there are some 0.35 nozzles out there that people routinely use to print 0.20mm resolution is like they're everyday. Like most people print 0.3 everyday resolution with a 0.4. But anyway, so that's another thing. I didn't like the nozzle. You can buy another nozzle. I think these are pretty standard. I haven't checked. And the reason why. So I didn't pay full price for this. I got it from another guy who was disgruntled with it, and I paid less than half what it's worth. But that's because I wanted to get it and test it. And I did take it back to the factory, take it back to the factory settings and re-zeroed everything just like they say. So it was a fresh start for me on the machine. It wasn't wonked from him. So now I get to go off with my son to college because he's been whining he wants a 3D printer. And I ain't got really much into this, and he needs one for school, for college, and I'm like, okay, you can take the Delta. And I got him some PLA to take with him. And And again, the reason I'm doing all this and sort of is because remember I was telling you about the craft bots that are coming out from Hungary. Well, I've got some of those coming. One's for a friend, other one's for a Christmas gift. Not for me. And also, I'd forgotten that I backed Boots Industries Delta 2.5 back in like May of this year. And it's another Delta, but it's, oh my lord, it's huge. It does a 12-inch OD by 12 inches high. So it's like 3 times this big. And I forgot all about it, and they just emailed me and said, oh, by the way, we're shipping that to you. So, and as you know, here in the man cave, I used to have 2 cartridge reloaders, because that's part of my man cave thing, is all my guns and my reloading. I used to have 2 reloaders, and I had a Replicator 2 and 2X here. Well, I sort of ran out of room. So now I'm just down to my Replicator 2 and 1 of my Dillon reloaders. And then I've been using this spot as like my temporary testing. So anyway, that's going to go out of here. The Boots Industries Delta should be here in a week, so I'll do a review on that. And then I've got the Create bot at work that I haven't done. I haven't even filmed yet, that I've got to do a review on. Let's see. And I'll be doing some other stuff. I got sent some test materials that I'll be doing reviews on. I'll be doing a thing about the laywood that I've been playing with. But let me finish it up, because I'm rambling again. I tend to ramble. $14.95, say $1,500. 6-inch circular, 5-inch square by 9-inch. ABS PLA, and I think it'll do nylon. I think this is rigged up so it'll do nylon. Well built. I would really give it a well built. Heated bed, SD, LCD, so you can do standalone. Supposedly fast printing. I never really got it up over about 80 milliseconds. It would get wonky. It's just me. I was done playing. I've got other stuff to do. I really couldn't sit and tweak to get it down to 100 milliseconds or 120. Didn't like the filament holder, but what are you going to do? It's got these 2 arms, and if you get off balance, they fold over. And didn't like it, but once it's on there, you're okay. And it does work. Let's see what else. This is the ones I kept, but when I got it, this thing had like 14 hours of printing on it, and I think it's got like 8 days on it now, so I printed like poo on it. It also comes with a little kit. Yeah, let me talk about the Bowden thing there. Yeah, real quick. It comes with an extra kit with some extra parts. Now this uses the Bowden, or a drive. The drive for the filament's over to the side. It goes through a tube and through a head through this connector here. And I've heard people, oh, it pops off, oh, it don't feed well, blah blah blah. Actually, I haven't had a problem. It's fed like a freaking champ. I mean, it grabs that thing. It's got a big knob on the side, but it'll grab it. It'll squirt it right down there. It'll push out pieces. I've learned the trick now about unscrew this and clip it here. Anyway, but no, the extruder feed systems work great on this. That was one of the things I was worried about. Everybody's like, oh my God, Bowden. This has worked great. The one I've got at work, the Create bot came in. I'm having a problem with a setting on the machine for line spacing, but it uses a double Bowden, and it feeds fine too. So I'm getting to where I'm not worried about the Bowden. Luckily, I've got a good feed system on this. But I would give this, compared to a replicator, as far as a simpleton like me, somebody that's not, heavy tech, but I would give this a 7. I mean, you can use it, and if you learned on it, you would know all the tricks, and you could be quick on it. But if you start with a replicator, this would seem overly complicated. As a matter of fact, I mean, and the software, I don't like the software. But again, I started on a replicator, so I'm more of a Cartesian or square bot person. The Create bot, just about every other printer I've got, the print bots, Create bots, they're all square printers. But like I said, I've got a Boots Industries, a much larger Delta coming, so I'll be able to do a review and really compare it, because there's a second Delta to try. So I give it a 7. If you're a medium user to advanced user, yeah, you can do it, especially if you can get it like I did for less than half price. It does print. I'm not real happy with it. I was going to use it to make my, submarine, but I just didn't. Just not seeing it. So anyway, that's my review. Flame the comments down here because I know everybody look, my Delta's a bad. I don't care. This is my personal experience. If yours is better, great. I'm happy. A lot of people don't like replicators. I mean, my replicator didn't do this. My replicator's been great, and I'm not shilling for the company because I think they are. The new 5th generation are junk. So I'm happy I've got my 4th generation. I mean, I've heard nothing but problems from when I'm talking some heavy users are having nothing but problems. So anyway, that's my review. SeeMeCNC Delta Orion, 7 out of 10. I would say it's more for advanced users. It's not at the start user friendly or simpleton friendly. So, your mileage may vary. Anyway, this is Jay. Have a good night and keep printing.